Welcome to Chris Parkin Shooting Sports. Guns just arrived. Now this one is a little bit unusual. This one is a Hammerli, and it is not the semi-automatic that I reviewed about a month ago and quite enjoyed shooting. This one is a toggle action. So it's like a side lever, a bit like a biathlon rifle. So let's have a look and see what it's like. Hammerli, I think it's called a B1. This is the all-weather black issue. So it's a synthetic stock. See if we can get this out here without destroying the box too much, which is, as always, a joy in itself. Get rid of that over there. Right, so that is it. Just have a little look. See if the paperwork's on show. And there we are. How do you like that? That is pretty light. Now, what have we got here? Not sure what those are. They look like, oh, those are magazine blanking plates maybe. It's a 1022 type magazine. Let's just put this down. Move this box out of the way. We get an Allen key, we get a trigger lock, we get these two little blanking plates. I'm not sure what they're for completely. Allen key will be for adjusting it. We've got an instruction manual. Fairly comprehensive. Let's pop this out of the way. Right, here's the interesting bit then. So, a toggle action, let's take that breech flag out. Toggle action, like a biathlon rifle, so essentially you close it. It's a bit like an air rifle actually. I mean, air rifles have kind of copied this kind of theory. That clicks forward, locks the breech, bang, off you go, and then back and forward again to fire. So, I think that's going to smooth out a little bit with time. Just go for a safe dry fire on it. The safety catch is, it's a push button safety catch through there actually. Safe dry fire on that. Not bad. So what else have we got on here? That looks like it's going to be adjustable in some way. We've got QD sling anchor point there. We've got M-lock rail there. Another QD anchor point and stuff. We'll probably put that on the M-lock. And the magazine is a 10 round. It's a Ruger 1022 sort of style magazine. So that pop in the bottom there. The mag release is that large button on the underneath, which drops out very cleanly, as you can just see from that mag release. And then we've got a Picatinny rail on top for scope mounting. So that looks quite interesting. There's a lot of polymer in here, as long as the metal in the actual construction. We've got steel, aluminium. There's a little safety blade on the inside of the trigger there as well. Let's take a few dimensions off it and see what it looks like. Let's start out with overall length. Overall length is 35.5 inches, 900 millimeters. The barrel length is 16 inches, 410 millimeters. The barrel has got a thread cap on it, and that looks like, yeah, it's a 1/2 inch 28 thread on there, is it? Looks like a 1/2 inch 28 thread on there. And then overall weight on the rifle, switch this on, in grams, we have got 2,319 grams, which is £5 1.6 ounces, so pretty light. It is light, it's handy. It's got a very vertical pistol grip on it. We've got stippling here. It's easy reach actually, it's that magazine release, you know, at the end of your finger there like that. And it does clearly drop out very easily, so you're not going to have any problem with mag changes in a hurry on that one, are we? And let's have a look at the last little thing. Let's just check it, close the bolt down again and see what the trigger pull is. Put in grams first. And that is 1,985 grams, which is £4 6 ounces. Now that's fresh out of the box, so we'll be giving this a go. We get a little breech flag with it as well, which is good when you go to the range. If they want breech flags and things, that'll just pop in there. We can close the bolt on that, stop it dropping out, put the mag back in. The barrel's got a free float on it. It's quite a square section on the fore end. If I just put that the right way around. didn't. But yeah, it's got a square section on the fore end. It's heavily stippled on the sides. We've got a nice little rifle there, which I think is going to shoot smaller shooters as well. Let's have a look at length of pull on that. It looks fairly long actually. Yeah, it is. It's 14 1/8 inch, which is 362 millimeters. But I'm going to investigate more because that would appear that that moves in some way, and we have perhaps got some adjustability. So I'll have to have a look in the instruction book and see how that works out, but I'll do all that for the full review. So in the meantime, please like, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell and keep track of the regular uploads, because I'll be testing this with a sound moderator, various different types of ammunition, see how well it shoots on paper at 50 metres. Right, thank you for watching, bye for now. Now then, don't forget to sit all the way through to the end of the video because you might see a little bit of extra. Right, I've just got the bits out. I'm going to put this rifle together. I've just put a little bit of Picatinny rail on this M-lock on the base, and I'm going to add this tier 1 bipod. That will click on there with a quick release and lock in position thus. So I now have a bipod. Second step, take the thread cap off, and I'm going to put the moderator on. This is a SAC moderator, 1/2 inch 28 thread. And that will go on the front and give me a lovely quiet rifle, because I can shoot regular velocity, but I can shoot subsonics through this. And subsonic 2T rimfire is one of the finest cartridges to shoot in the world because it's just so quiet and peaceful. I've grabbed some Element Optic scope rings. Now these are the XT mounts. Quite like these, not too expensive, and they work very, very well. They're easy to put on and off, and I do a lot of putting scopes on and off of rifles. So I like the fact you can just spin the screws easily loose, take them on, take them off, and it sort of attests to the quality of the threads that are on them. So I'll just put the front ring on. I've put these are, people are very often very interested in which rings I'm using. These are high Picatinny, it says here. I think those might be in the wrong box though, because those look like low to me. I might just pop them in the wrong box. Just pop that front ring on there. It's a 1/2 inch 13mm nut to do them up with. I'll do these up with a torque wrench later. I'm just going to nip them in position for now. Interesting to see if there's any plenty of space around that lever. Pop that one there. This is an Element Optic scope. They've usually got quite long 100mm eye relief, so it makes sense to put them quite a long way forward. And I didn't grab my torque wrench. 1 second. Back in the room. Right, and spin these off. One good thing I will say about these scope rings is when you've got really nice threads and good hard 700, one thing I will say about this is when you've got really good aluminium and anodizing, screws like this will just spin out very easily. And as well as, you know, the fact it's easy to put them on, easy to put them off, change things over, it attests to the fact that when you actually are using a torque wrench, this one's a T15 Torx, that's set to 2 Newton meters. When you are using one of these, you get a more accurate torque setting because you've not got as much friction between the bolt or the screw and the actual anodizing on the aluminium, which sometimes on some rings can be very porous and a little bit grubby, shall we call it. So I'll pop that there, put it all the way forward. That's about right. One thing to remember with scope rings is, depending on the height of the rail, especially for Picatinny rail, height of the rail over the receiver and the height of the receiver over the barrel, you might not necessarily need as high rings as you think you might. So that goes on about there. Quite happy with that for a position. I'll just pop these back so I don't drop them anywhere. You can see just how easily those screws are spinning into position. I'm not having to, you know, twist every single turn on them to make them go into the threads. So pop that down there, let's have a little look through it. As expected, I want the scope pretty much all the way forward that it'll go, because that gives me the most capability on this quite long eye relief scope, 100mm of eye relief. It's quite big for some rim fires. Just going to make sure there's a tiny little bit of space between the ring and where the actual tube starts to change diameter. And I'm just going to start just nipping one ring down. And I'm going to line this reticle up. And I'm only doing it by eye because you can use all the tools in the world you want, but sometimes it can be a little bit confusing because you're not necessarily measuring straight, square and level surfaces anyway. So given the fact that sometimes reticles aren't straight in scopes and scope turrets aren't quite machined accurately and the top of actions isn't always machined square, sometimes you can get everything lined up sort of mathematically, I suppose you might call it, technically, but it actually really looks wrong. And I think most people are happy when it looks right. No one ever seems to grab hold of my rifle and go, put that scope on wonky, so maybe I'm doing something right, I don't know. Right, so the rear ring's tightened down, just going diagonal on it, that's 2 Newton meters. I'll just do the front one now, same thing. When you're using good tools and you've got good components, you really don't need a huge amount of force to make things sit accurately in position. And I could tell when I put this scope on here, that scope laid flat on both rings. You can feel it, there's just no movement in it. And when you actually tighten the rings down, just nip tight, it moves smoothly. It's not kind of constricted. And that's all a testament to the alignment and quality of the products you're putting together. So that is there, that is there. I'm just going to sort of guess on these at about 5 Newton meters. Like that. And there we go, that's ready to shoot now. So let's go and get to the range. One thing I never tested on it. After using this for a couple of minutes, one thing I will say is it opens easily with your fingers, with your sort of a hand onto the top of the grip. But when you close it, it seems to work better if you just slide forward and just nip it down slightly with the base of your thumb. But we'll get used to that when we're shooting it. And there we go. Right, off we go.